Um, we're going to talk about gay bullying and bullying in general, LGBT bullying, and bullying in general, bullying with any, child or teenager or anything. Yeah, I mean, and everyone gets bullied for being different, no matter what that is. If you're LGBT, if you're, the geek, if you're the nerd, if you're anything, yeah, I mean, everyone kind of faces some sort of bullying. I know that I was bullied. I'm sure you were bullied in school. And it's really tough.
Yeah, yeah, bullying is definitely, a big problem right now with the teenagers and young kids in school because there's been a lot of suicides, obviously, recently in the gay community, in the LGBT community. But, we also have to remember that it also happens in the straight community, like kids like Napoleon Dynamite. I used to go to school in elementary with a kid that was exactly like Napoleon Dynamite. And, back then it was just like funny. You would think, oh, it's fun. And you know what I used to think? It was like, at least it's not me. So you would go, at least it's not me being bullied, and you would direct your attention at him, kind of like go along with it so that they wouldn't make fun of you. I had bullies, but I had a couple of bullies. I had like 2 bullies that I can remember when I was like in 5th and 6th grade. And I remember I used to hate to go to school sometimes because I used to get on the swings when I was in elementary school, and there was this one particular bully that would come and push me really hard on the swings, hoping that I would fall. Finally, I would just have to jump off. But I would be so scared, I was a kid, and I was like, oh my God.
Are you going to call the bully out?
No, I can't remember what his name was or anything. But, yeah, he was just some kid. And then the other bully, he used to just, like, try to, hit me and put me in a headlock and stuff like that. But he was a bully to a lot of the kids. It wasn't like they just picked me. It was like they were just bullies in general, and they would bully a lot of the kids. That were different, that were kind of, more quiet or whatever. Like, I used to be really quiet in school. And, they would just pick on me. And so I definitely, can tell you that I had experiences with being bullied. But this only happened when I was in elementary school, because once I grew up, it was fine. But in elementary school, I definitely had bullies. And, like, it got to the point where, like, I didn't want to go to school in the morning. And I just... sometimes I would be like scared to go to school because the bullies, there was a couple bullies, and just hoping that they wouldn't show up to school that day.
No, absolutely. And it's terrible. And I would be bullied, especially on the bus. I don't know if you had that, but I would go on the bus, and I would get sick to my stomach every day on the bus. And I thought that it was motion sickness. I would have to roll down the window, like, put the windows down, and I would be physically ill going to school because it was so horrific. And I can't believe that there are, teenagers and that are, and almost adults that are committing suicide because they don't believe that their life is worth living anymore because of who they are. And that is a tragedy. Like, we cannot... it's gone too far. Like, this has gone on for too long. And it's like, when are we going to draw the line? Like, people are losing their lives. They're taking their own lives. People that we need in this world are killing themselves. And it has to stop. And it's, you have to stop and think about it. And the most important thing is, to any of the kids out there who's watching this show, please know that it does get better. And life is what you make of it, and it does get better. It is, because it's so easy to think that your high school or your elementary school is what the entire world is like. I know that I felt that way. There were times that I contemplated suicide growing up because I didn't feel that I fit in, and I didn't feel that anyone would accept me for who I was and what I wanted to be. And it's a really difficult place, and please know that it does get better, and you can be whatever or whoever you want to be. Just stay strong, and it will get better. We all went through it.
Yeah, especially if there's any kids out there watching, now that we're going to put this on YouTube and stuff. a lot of us go through it. We went through it and we survived it. It's not the biggest thing in the world. I don't know how severe it is for different kids. Obviously there's different levels of it. Mine wasn't too bad, but it was still bad enough that I didn't want to go to school. But, I survived it. I put up with it. I never contemplated suicide. I was just never, in that frame of mind. But definitely it was, an issue that I didn't want to go to school or anything like that. So, to the kids out there, you just have to be patient. And I know when I was little, I just wanted to grow up. I just wanted to grow up. I wanted to be an adult. Everybody did. I mean, you want to be like 18 so you can, be an adult and do your own things and get out of school. Definitely get out of school. But if, just be patient is all I can say, and deal with it the best you can. Try to put yourself in a better frame of mind. Find something to distract you. Like for me, Madonna was a big distraction. I used to be a big Madonna fan. I would go and buy her CDs, her tapes, her records, her magazines, and everything. So, try to find something to distract you from that. And, hopefully that'll help also.
Mostly talk to someone. Find someone, either talk to a guidance counselor at school, or, find an LGBT community center. Find someone to talk to. Find people that are like you. There's so many people, whether they admit it or not, as we saw on Glee, which was fantastic. There are people like you and people that you can talk to, and you're not alone. That's the biggest thing. And of course, always you can write to us, sassyandsamara@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And we need you. We can't, there's too much pain and suffering and heartache and death in this world. We can't take another blow by having, another LGBT person take their life because of senseless bullying.
And also it also happens in the straight community with regular straight kids. Like I was saying, like Napoleon Dynamite, I used to go to elementary school with a kid that was exactly like Napoleon Dynamite. I mean, people would just make fun of him, and he wasn't gay or anything like that. I'm assuming he wasn't gay. It wasn't because of that they used to bully him. It was just because, once in a while they just pick someone in the whole school, and like all throughout his years, they bullied him, even in high school. I got to go to high school with him, from elementary school to high school. I can't imagine. Now I think back and I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine what that boy went through. And he survived. I mean, I'm assuming, I don't think he ever committed suicide. I think he graduated with us, from high school, and he survived it. But if anybody should have contemplated suicide, I imagine would be this boy, because everybody used to pick on him. They used to push him and throw his food and everything, and they treated him so bad. And back then, obviously you're a kid, you would laugh, you would think it's funny, and you just think, as long as it's not me, thank God it's not me. But now thinking back, and I'm like, oh my God, they were so cruel to that kid, and I can't believe, if he can stick it out, I mean, I'm sure, all of you can stick it out and survive and go through it, and just be patient. And, it does get better. I mean, look at us now. We're fabulous. So,
Fabulousness. But unfortunately, that idea of, oh, thank God it's not me, is what gets us in trouble. And we've all thought it, and especially when you're beat down so much every day, it's like, thank God they're not picking on me today. And it's like, that attitude is like, when they're not coming for you, if you don't speak up now for the person who's getting picked on, they're going to come for you eventually. It's like, the Jewish people in Nazi Germany, it's all of this thing. It's the Mexican immigrants coming in from Mexico in Arizona with the papers and asking for papers to find out who's legal and who's not. I mean, these are things that are just not right, and are not, it's perpetuating this idea of us and them. And we can't continue to allow bullying and saying, oh, they're just kids. Like, it has to stop now. And we can't tolerate this discrimination against anybody. We're a melting pot of people. We have a lot of different people, and we can't allow discrimination. It goes back to Sarah Palin's daughter, Willow, who put that comment on Facebook about, oh, what is your problem? She was talking to some guy on Facebook, and what is your problem? Oh, you're so gay. I saw your pictures and you look like a gay. And it's like, when you use gay as a derogatory way, you're, perpetuating this idea that gay is bad, or LGBT people are bad, or just like when the Jersey Shore did that whole tranny thing on their reunion episode, when they were talking about this girl that was coming on to the situation, who was transgendered, and they kept referring to her as a tranny grenade, all these like really derogatory terms, which is allowing discrimination and allowing intolerance, and it can't be allowed. And the fact that Sarah Palin's daughter was saying this shows that obviously that this kind of intolerance is allowed in her house. So it's like, children learn from the way the parents are. And if you are teaching your children to be ignorant and teaching them intolerance, that's what they're going to think is acceptable, and it's not.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I think another thing that we have to mention is getting to the root of the problem, which is the bully. Why does one become a bully? I mean, I think there's a couple of reasons why kids are bullies. One of them is because the kid actually likes you, maybe. There's some people that say, why do boys pick on girls? Because they like them. So now I'm thinking, maybe those boys liked me. Why were they picking on me so much? There's a couple of reasons.
But when someone's different and unique, or someone is not like the others, you stand out. And some people are jealous that people are being themselves and are comfortable with themselves, and that creates being a bully. But I mean, I think it comes from the parents. Like, the parents are to blame for this. Like, any parent that allows that type of intolerance in their home is setting this example, and it has to start with the parents and what they teach them. If a child hears their parent call something gay or use derogatory terms, they're going to think that that is acceptable in society, and it's not. And it will not be tolerated anymore.
Yeah. But, like, one of the other reasons I think that bullies become bullies is because, sometimes they're hiding something, obviously, that they don't want to be discovered. They don't want to be the target, so they become the ones that target others, so that, the fingers won't be pointed at them. So that's another reason why bullies become bullies. I mean, what do you think? What are your theories as to why bullies become bullies?
Insecurities, I think, and I think because they've been bullied themselves. I'm sure, again, it goes back to how they were treated by their parents and what it was like growing up in their house and how they were talked to. And, like, when you bully a child or they're bullied elsewhere, they're going to turn around and want to bully as well. So it's like, it's a vicious cycle that needs to be stopped at the root. And again, it really, parents have to, teach their children tolerance and acceptance of different types of people, because this world has so many different types of people, and if you don't get to know them and if you don't have them in your life, you're missing out. And parents that don't teach that to their children are doing their children a disservice.